Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast.
Okay, go.
What?
That was the intro. We're live,
Holy
man.
moly. Yo,
It
what's
is-
going on?
That
Tanner,
is different.
What is going on right now with you? Are you sure this is live right now?
It is. It's
People
live.
out there in the world are listening to this nonsense after that situation that just went down for the last 10 minutes?
I warned you guys.
Okay,
I
but
had
not like
no
that.
idea what was going to happen here.
Not like that. You wanted to make over the show a little bit with some new music and all that.
Oh, my gosh.
You thought just because I was into metal, we needed some craziness, but I didn't think it was going to go like that. So
I didn't think it was going to go like that.
Maybe if we had a guy like Jerry West as our president of show productions, then things might go a little bit better.
Hey,
Oh.
he was great at running things. So
we are using brand new, I want to say branding, right, going into play here, but we're also using a brand new software that I am not very as familiar with as the other one. we
Somebody
use.
needs to get fired.
And I've never had to use it unless I'm with you guys. So
wow, okay, special stuff, man. Anyways, guys, welcome on in to the Sports Buffoon Studios here. We got JG to my left and Tanner Dawson to my right, running the show. Yes, that's right. He was the one that began the show. That's why that happened. So put all the blame on Tanner. We can't call him names anymore. So he needs to get some flack for that a little bit. But anyways, guys, the good news is we've not been on in a couple weeks, so we have a lot to catch up on with you guys. So we're talking a little bit of Royals, some Chiefs, of course, and NBA as the finals are going on at the moment. And then here towards the end of the show, of course, we're going to have a little chat for a few moments about Caitlin Clark and just some of our thoughts on that situation as well. But first and foremost, to introduce you guys to the show, I did want to say the big news of the day is actually on Twitter, on X now, your likes are now private. So what do you guys think about the idea that, you know, your likes are now private? Why do you think X would have done something like that? And supposedly it's skyrocketed the amount of likes. So to help the algorithm, apparently, is what
Thank you, Starsky.
Elon's apparently going for.
I don't. I guess it's just odd to me when I saw that this morning.
Well, I think that his idea was that some people are afraid to show their true opinions on Twitter because your likes were public.
That makes sense.
And now that your likes are private, you can actually get more of your videos or comments or whatever it may be. The algorithm's going to put those more towards you compared to before, because you might have been reluctant because your buddy maybe would have had a problem with something you liked on there. So that's it.
I'm with it.
That's an
I like
interesting
that.
one. Interesting one's going on the Twitter sphere.
Little protection, I would say.
I guess. I mean, I don't know what we have to hide out here. So, if you guys got some stuff you're liking online that I need to know about, it's going to affect some things down the road, obviously.
You want me to send you everything I like, though? It's just
if I start seeing you like certain things that I don't like, then we're going to have a big problem. You got to like exactly what I like. Otherwise, we just can't get along in this world.
Man,
I like the change. I mean, obviously, Elon knows what he's doing. I wish he would spend a little bit more time on the Dogecoin and less time on Twitter. Because I've got some assets that I need to see skyrocket right now.
Assets. I think that's why they made the likes private, was because of assets.
Yeah, probably.
So that's probably why.
I mean, you might as well just get rid of every stat then that's underneath the video or tweet, because, I mean, if we're just going to not show who's liking what, then just get rid of the stats. Just get rid of the insights.
Yeah.
And then you'll take down some bigger names probably that aren't getting as popular. So.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Not that I really care that much, honestly. But,
I don't either.
I just wanted to bring it up to you guys to throw something out.
I thought it was interesting this morning. Elon came out and did that.
So what we're gonna do first, and then I'm gonna have you guys discuss some Mr. Jerry West for a second. But I made some hot sauce, and I'm gonna have you guys try this on a cracker. Christ on a cracker hot sauce is gonna be the name of this. And while you guys are chowing down on some hot sauce, I want you guys to just kind of give us the public out here the feelings you have about the late Jerry West and his impact on the sport of pro basketball. The logo, everyone knows him as the logo, and just kind of your thoughts on his legacy that's been left behind now. I think he passed away 86 years old, something along those lines. So
that smells really good. The logo. I mean, I wasn't old enough to watch him. I know Jason probably was.
Most were.
So
Maybe.
Yeah, 'cause I'm like 65. Yeah, I did see him play.
So you would have more, I guess, with a connection with it. But from a, I guess, NBA standpoint, in my eyes, I thought it was cool that he's been involved within the Lakers, or at least talked about the Lakers and the NBA, and he's really had thoughts and, I mean, kind of what it is, kept it up what it is today. So, RIP for me.
Yeah, I mean, I never got a chance to watch him. Obviously, his career was over basically before I was born. But, but I mean, that's the only sport, man. It's the only sport that has a player as the logo. So we don't have that in the NFL. We don't have it in the NHL. We don't have it in MLB. It's the only one of the major 4 sports that has an actual player that played in the league as the logo. So it's a huge deal. I think that ESPN actually, when they did the top 75 players of all time, Jerry West was ranked at number 19. Again, never watched him play, but I think the number one thing that I always talked about him on the show is the fact that he made it to the NBA Finals so many times. I mean, he was LeBron James before LeBron James because he kept making it to the finals and losing all the time. But the difference is like he was going up against that juggernaut of the Boston Celtics, who basically had this, amazing team with so many great players on it. And he was only able to win 1 championship. But, his stats, specifically in the 1969 finals, I wanted to bring that up because he's the only player ever to win finals MVP on the losing team, which is something that we're probably never, ever going to see that happen again. I mean, if it ever does happen, it's probably going to happen this year if Luka just goes bananas and averages like 45 or 50 points a game and still loses, which they are going to lose. We're going to get to that later. But 1969 finals, nice. Jerry West, he had a 53-point game, a 41-point game. He actually averaged 38 points per game in the finals, which is, I believe, the 5th most in history. For comparison, Michael Jordan had a final series where he averaged 41. But, yeah, amazing player. Most importantly with Jerry West is just an amazing executive. I think a lot of people would say that it's kind of between him and Pat Riley. Both Laker guys were the 2 greatest executives in NBA history. Jerry West was responsible for bringing Shaquille O'Neal to the Lakers, which at the time it was thought to be kind of an impossible feat because Orlando, let's be honest, should have kept him. I mean, that's one of the greatest players in history. You don't let those guys go. Jerry West was able to get that done. Was also with the Golden State Warriors during a portion of that dynasty. So definitely for me, he's a top 5 Laker of all time because you have to take his playing days and his days as an executive into account. So we're definitely going to miss the logo. You go back and watch him play, man. I mean, just totally amazing player. And I've seen a few highlights, but definitely an amazing, amazing player. Definitely top. I would say if you don't agree with ESPN on that number 19 ranking, he's definitely top 25 of all time. So, yeah, definitely going to miss the logo.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a very nice way to put it.
Bill Walton 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Now Jerry West.
Yep. No, a very nice way to put it, and obviously a great legacy left behind for the NBA. With what I don't know. What, did you not like that one? What's wrong? What's wrong with that one?
I watched him. He pissed on it under the table.
He pissed on it?
Yeah, because he didn't think I was looking.
Okay, well.
So I'm getting a new one right now.
Tanner's eating 1 cracker. He's got 2 over there, but
that was good actually. That was it wasn't like I put a good dab on it, and it wasn't too strong at all. So.
I was getting ready to tell, like he was getting ready to serve me a cracker, and I was like, "Did you use your hand wipes so I don't get COVID?" And then it ended up being worse than I thought. He actually took a piss on my cracker.
But at least he's vaccinated, so. he should be safe. So.
I'm not actually sure how that works if you take a piss on somebody's food, but that's neither here nor there, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we'll save that for a different day then, maybe. Anyways, you guys, the other things we want to get to today, obviously, let's get into the nitty-gritty of our discussions for the day. And surprisingly, we wanted to kick it off with the Royals because they have been, kind of fun to watch this season. I mean, they're at the moment about to be 9 games above 500, which is much better than we're used to here in Kansas City. We're used to them being at least 25 games back by this point in the year from first place. There goes JG eating the full hot sauce, so he can give us the true opinion when he's done over there. But right now, it's not looking pretty for the Royals at the current game with the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees are about to go up 3-0 on a 4-game series with the Royals. And we've seen, they had an 8-game win streak at one point in the season, the Royals did. And here over the last few games, I think they've just won a handful of the last 15 to 20 games or so. And it's definitely been a decline. It's definitely been something where, you start to question to yourself, like, all right, is this team capable of what we thought maybe back in April and May? Because June has come along with a really tough schedule, and we're starting to finally see some flaws within the team, especially in starting pitching.
Yeah.
Because that seems to have been the thing that was holding everything together for so long this season was elite starting pitching from Lugo, Cole Reagans, Michael Wacha has been decent, of course. And I think now as the season's gone on, we've had some injuries along the way. And now some things are starting to fall off a little bit. And relief pitching is not great. They can't figure out the closer situation very well.
Which is weird because MacArthur's 12 saves in.
Yeah, the thing with MacArthur is that he can be hot and cold. So his bad games are really bad. His good games are really good. And so it can be kind of frustrating for, I think, a lot of fans that are sitting back saying, hey, this guy should not be set in stone as our closer for the year. There should be other options out there on the roster currently. So I don't know. My current thought right now is that the Royals did probably overachieve a little bit to begin the season. I still think that this is probably a 500 team. In fact, I have it on my good notes here. Tanner, your brother had told me before the season began, he felt like it was going to be 85 wins for the Royals. That was his prediction. And, I kind of chuckled at that because I felt like, we're Royals fans. Like, oh, yeah, we'll wait and see it when, as Mahomes says, we'll see it when we believe it. And so we're at a situation now, though, where as the year goes on, we're almost at the halfway mark. That might be what they are. That might be a 85-win team that maybe gets a wild card if they're lucky. I think that at this point, the Twins are currently leading in first place. They are probably going to be the ones to take care of business for the AL Central. But anyways, what is your guys' thoughts in general about the Royals at this point? Now that we've seen more things go on, we've started to see some flaws within the roster. Is this team still capable of getting into the playoffs, avoiding just having to deal with that wild card spot? I mean, is this team as good as you thought they were, or are they worse?
I think we do know what they are, provided that they take care of business with this upcoming schedule. So they're dealing with the Yankees right now. I feel like this is probably a wake-up call for the team on the fact that, they're getting pummeled right now in this series. And then they have to go face the Dodgers after that. So you're going up against 2 first-place teams back-to-back. And then later on, I think at the end of June, they got to go up against another first-place team, the Guardians. So this is a true test, but I feel like for me, if they can just kind of tread water, obviously they're getting killed right now by the Yankees, but let's just take the Dodgers series in Cleveland. If they can just kind of split those 2 series or at least take a game in each one of those series and then take care of business, you got to take care of business against the A's, Marlins, and Rangers. Yeah. A's and Marlins are shitty. Rangers are basically a mediocre team. If you can pummel those 3 teams, but then, just do okay against the Dodgers and Cleveland, I mean, you're going to be sitting pretty, I think. Right now they're 39-29. And so even if you play, let's say they lose, let's say they get swept by the Yankees, I'm just looking at those next 5 series in the month of June and saying, just be respectable. Just take a game from the Dodgers, take a game from Cleveland, and then pummel those other 3 piece of shit teams. I think we're going to be just fine at the end of June.
Yeah, I think they got to make some changes here in the lineup for me personally. I know Mr. Melendez has had his ups and downs a little bit as far as power this year. He had a game last weekend and actually helped propel the Royals to a victory in late innings, which was a lot of fun to watch. One of the most fun Royals games I've seen probably in the last 10 years was this last Friday. And if you guys didn't get to see it, I'm sorry, because it was amazing. It was so much fun to watch. But Melendez is batting 160, which after over 60 games, that's disgraceful. I mean, there's no reason to have him up here in the MLB right now. He needs to be sitting back down without a doubt, at the very least. I think that we're running into situations where we have Daniel Lynch, a project we've been working on for the last 3 years, who has been awful. To put it nicely, he's been awful since he's come along. I remember his first game as a Royal 3 years ago, and he gave up like 9 runs in the first couple innings. And I was like, well, it's his first game. Maybe he'll get it figured out. And no, that never happened. I mean, here we are at this point, and I'm tired of wasting time on a guy like that. But I think the rest of the roster, you got some guys that are surprising right now. I will say Miguel Garcia had a really good beginning of the year as a leadoff hitter. He's really taken a big step back recently and started getting real sloppy in his play, chasing pitches outside the zone, and really just not being an efficient player as a whole. So there's something going on with that. Bobby Witt Jr. is still doing Bobby Witt Jr. things, guys. That's the good news. That is our positive right now about the lineup, is that he is still a badass. And then Vinny. Vinny is doing okay at the moment, batting 237, but he's got some power, so he's got some stuff there to work with. And then I think we've actually been surprised to see Freddie Fermin be as productive as he has. He's batting over 300 right now. Never going to be a power guy, but at the very least, he can be a guy that you feel like can make a slap hit somewhere to the outfield to get a runner moved over at least in some kind of fashion. I just think right now they got to cut some dead weight from the roster and stop fooling around with guys that are not producing and just hoping that it works out, because we're getting close to the All-Star break, which is telling me that it's time to make a move. Because if you need to be starting Melendez on your roster to just have a body out there, then we don't have enough talent on this team to get it done. And so for me, you got to move on from the Melendez situation this year. What I mean is send him down if you need to, then move on from Daniel Lynch. We're over that crap. You got to find other ways around it. You can't keep sitting around hoping things will turn around and work out when it's been this bad for a few select players on the roster that are really holding things back. So for me, I think there's definitely potential for this thing to get figured out for the Royals and to stay above 500, because right now, as you talked about here in June, they got the Dodgers, they got the Guardians again later on this month coming up, and the Yankees about to go 3-0 on a 4-game series. And so they're looking like this could be a situation where they're going to fall to 500. At that point, how do you keep your head above water without adding something else to the roster?
Quite frankly, May have saved them for this June schedule. All they got to do is get to July. Just get to July with as minimal as you can, right? And you're going to be sitting pretty. Second in the wild card, the Twins are the only other team below them above 500, okay? Boston, Toronto, Detroit, Tampa,
I think they're
Texas.
They're 5
Houston.
games up right now on the wild card from as far as if things were to end today, of course.
They are 3 right
3?
now. Yeah.
Okay.
So 3. So look, all you got to do here is after you got swept by the Yankees, which will be today, don't get swept by the Dodgers, which will be a little tough, but not as tough as the Yankees. The A's take care of business there in those 2 days, 3 days there. Then the Rangers, Detroit, and Twins are all winnable series. Look, whatever it is right now, they're struggling, right? The Guardians, they didn't get swept. Mariners, they won the series. The Yankees were getting swept. But the Dodgers, if you can just get past the Dodgers basically at this point, the Dodgers and Rangers, we'll make it into May. We'll make it in July, and we'll still be at least 2 games in the wild card.
All right.
Because you got to think about it. Like there
I'm just
is
worried
positive
that,
stuff here.
this is going to start really showing some weaknesses within the roster, and then it's just going to be kind of a downward spiral as time goes on.
Which
with the current
it's all
situation.
possible to see it that way, right? It's not.
I don't want to
out
have
of
to see
realm.
it that way, but I think that playing these good teams has kind of shown us
But
who we really are.
we just saw Toronto lose to the Milwaukee Brewers in the series. Boston hasn't been playing up to par. They're the only other team outside of Houston that are in positive run differential, for anything below the wild card right now. The Twins are -2. Like Royals sitting at 65 run differential. That has saved them. May saved them. A record May. All they got to do is have a couple series this month, and they can be fine going in July. Because in July there, you go back to the White Sox, suck. Damn it, computers. White Sox, Houston, which will be a little tough. Toronto, you should win that series. Tampa, you should win that series. White Sox, you should win that series. Orioles, you've already played them once. You should be able to at least get 2 games or at least 1 game. Guardians and Twins to round out the month.
But do you agree with me, Tanner, that if they don't pummel the A's and the Marlins specifically, that's a problem? If you play like shit against those 2 teams?
Yeah, I mean, you better win the series. I don't think you got to pummel them. I think the Marlins you should pummel. The A's have been actually fairly competitive this year in their games, which is shocking. But I'd say you got to win those series. You can't let those series.
Yeah,
drop.
you got to win all three of those series, including the Rangers.
Correct. The Rangers even right now have not been playing the best either. So you can't lose those series. That's all I'm gonna say. You can't lose them. Like you can give up a game. You can make it close, but you can't lose it. In that.
It's still early though for Melendez as far as his career. I mean, are you guys out on him? It's only his 2nd year. Or do you think if we send him down, that maybe
I don't think
he might be a decent player?
I don't think this
forward?
is an Alex Gordon situation. I think Melendez is what he is. There's a lot of guys from the tenure since 2015, 16, 17 area, right? Have been coming up. It's time to move on.
So we're done with him, and we're done with Daniel Lynch.
I'm far done with.
We're
Daniel
done with
Lynch.
both of those guys.
Where's Jackson Kohar nowadays?
Yeah.
You guys know that?
I don't know. Not here, so I don't know. But all right, so one word answer from you guys. Royals, end of the year, quick prediction. Are they in the playoffs? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Going yay? What are you going?
Yeah, they can get a wild card easily, I think.
Yeah, as of right now, I'm gonna say that yeah as well. I'm gonna say yeah as well. I'm just gonna say that I want things to get put back in the right direction again because they've been falling off the rails here the last couple of weeks. So that is all with that. Guys, you want to talk about some fun Chiefs and NFL stuff? I know we're here in middle of June, where there's almost nothing to talk about other than mini camps and so on. But one guy, Tanner, you brought him up to me a couple weeks ago, and I scoffed at your comment because it was just ridiculous. But we were talking about Reese Zammit, the rugby player that is now joined on the Kansas City Chiefs. And he's going to be kind of an X factor for the roster. I know he's listed currently as a running back, but I think he's going to be able to do a lot of different things for the team and special teams oriented things and receiving wise and potentially some running back. We'll see how that role ends up coming out as time goes and how effective he can be. The great news is, like I said, guys, he's 23 years old. I don't know if I said this the other day. He took his went on a first date with his 21-year-old girlfriend. Well, that's not a girlfriend yet, I guess, but first date with a girl to Worlds of Fun is where he took her. So I wasn't sure if you guys had any opinion on a first date Worlds of Fun adventure, but I guess when you're 23 years old, that's probably not too bad. I don't know that I would do that.
I met my first girlfriend at Worlds of Fun.
At Worlds of Fun?
Yeah, I was about I was 15, maybe 14 years old. So. Yeah,
so
that didn't pan out too well, but Worlds of Fun was great back in the day. I'm not so sure about it now, but I haven't been there in a long time.
Yeah, I'm not a Worlds of Fun guy. I'm scared of roller coasters, so I don't really do much.
I guess that's true. If Tater's scared of roller coasters, that's probably not going to be.
I don't really do much.
I don't know. I think for a first date, it wouldn't be.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
If you're like
up
23,
for that kind of stuff.
20, I don't know.
Yeah, It's not a bad idea.
I feel like, especially because they're not from here. They're not from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Neither Luis Rees-Zammit nor his girl he was seeing is from here. So I feel like maybe for them it was something unique to go experience together, and you get some laughs involved, and I bet it worked out just fine for Mr. Zammit. So, guys, anyways, what is our thoughts though on his potential usage within the roster, Tanner? Because you asked me last week or 2 weeks ago. If your words were to me, if he was going to overtake Pacheco's spot in the lineup,
I didn't say
which made,
overtake Pacheco's spot.
Steal. You said steal.
You heard.
Was he going to steal?
Overtake Pacheco's spot.
Was he going to steal Pacheco's spot in the
no,
lineup?
It was not
which
steal
was
Pacheco's
a ridiculous
spot.
thing to say.
This was to take carries and reps away from Pacheco.
Well, that's not at all how you phrased it. So
that is exactly how I phrased it.
That's why. Well, he was not stealing anything from Pacheco.
God.
Pacheco's job is Pacheco's job.
Do you have any concern with Pacheco losing weight going to this?
It's not even a thing. I mean, it's
I personally see him
an issue.
as a guy that we've been looking like. I don't want to say like a Tyreek.
Are you just talking about because of the pictures, Tanner? Because
no, I've seen. Have you not watched any of the news about training camp?
I'm fully aware.
OTAs?
Pacheco looks a little slimmer than he did before.
Well, yeah, I've heard a lot of talk about that. I'm not worried about that. I'm talking about Luis.
I thought you said Pacheco losing weight.
Yeah, well, I asked you your concern. That's all I want to know.
I'm not concerned about it.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Unless he has does he have cancer? Because I mean, otherwise I'm not concerned about him losing weight. So
I don't know about that.
That's definitely not my concern at all. I'm more focused on how Luis Rees-Zammit, who I feel like the team is pushing out there publicly quite a bit. As a matter of fact, if you check their social media and things like that, they're actually really making it publicly known that this is a guy that they want to put in front of you as a fan base as a potential, high usage active player for the 53-man roster.
You didn't sign him to a 3-year deal for nothing.
Right. And you're 23 years old, which, like I said, is awesome to me because that means you're not teaching an old dog new tricks. Going from rugby to the NFL, I mean, that's a huge change for a lot of people. But for a guy this young, I don't think he's going to be so far gone with a different sport that coming to this league. It's not like Michael Jordan going to play for the White Sox. This is not the same kind of thing, even though this guy was elite as a rugby player. So
like for the usage here, I'm not trying to jump the gun here. Okay, I know you have certain plans here, but I think we all know where he will be used on and used at in the special teams world.
Absolutely. I mean, that's absolutely in the works, in the plans. I think
everybody's talking about Justin Reed being the kicker.
Well,
here you go. Here's your kicker and your guy going down there, rugby style. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and Dave Tobes alluded to this a little bit here in some of the interviews we've had. So I think Dave Tobes is interested in having situational football and special teams, which probably makes his job more fun because he's probably been bored as hell the last few years dealing with the NFL rules.
Touchback.
Now it's like he gets to put his mind to work again as a special teams coordinator, and so some situations they're going to call on Butker, some situations they're going to call on Justin Reed.
Yep.
Some could call on Luis Rees-Zammit to be involved as the kickoff specialist in those situations. So I think it's going to be just kind of depending on the situational standpoint of those things. But either way, it's a good problem to have. But I think he's going to be used in a wide variety of factors and just kind of be an X factor for the roster because I see him being a guy that can be used underneath in the route running game.
Yes.
I mean, we got a roster full of guys that can get downfield. We got speed guys everywhere. Rashee Rice, I think we'll see how that thing unfolds. But Xavier Worthy is going to be used as your deep threat. I think Hollywood Brown is going to be used as intermediate to deep threat kind of guy. Where is our underneath 5-yard guy? Where is that quick hitch? Where is that guy running the zig route? So just those kind of guys I think can have a real impact on the roster. And when Pacheco wants to come out and have a breather on a third down, we needed a Jerick McKinnon replacement for this team, and we don't have one. Maybe we do. And so I think we're seeing a guy like Rees-Zammit that can come in here and do a wide variety of different things for this roster, which is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm not trying to say, hey, we found this hidden gem that got to be undrafted and we just stole another one, from thin air, like we're known for doing every once in a while. But I'm saying that this looks promising, and I'm excited for it. So I'm done rambling. So what do you guys think about
I think it is possible that we did find a hidden gem, and I'm just going to call him LRZ because the rest of this stuff just confuses me.
That's fine.
So I think there's a wide range of outcomes here. You alluded to the fact, I think what was on the previous show, that you thought he was going to take Pacheco's job.
That he did say that. Tanner did.
I didn't say take Pacheco's job.
I do see
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, you did.
No, I did not.
That's why I got pissed.
No, you listened to what I said. You didn't. Never mind.
I do see that as a hot take. However, with the wide range of possibilities here, I mean, rugby players are tough guys, man.
They are.
They're not afraid of contact, and so he did run a 4.44 at his pro day. He claims that he can run a 4.2 or a 4.3. So my thought on this is like he's either a lying sack of shit or he's going to be the next Christian McCaffrey. I think that's in the range of possibilities here. So not only will he take Isaiah Pacheco's job, he's going to be the next CMC because he can catch the ball.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I was curious about that too. You know, the kind of hands he would have, and throughout minicamp at least. You know, minicamp only shows so much. But I think that we've seen some positive things. And like I said, the Chiefs feel good about a guy. And when they feel good about a guy, they push them in front of you a little bit. And just through their social media over the course of the offseason, I've seen them purposely put him out in front at different times, which tells me that they think highly of him. So just something to kind of gauge as time goes on. And I'm looking forward to it. But training camp is a month and a half away, guys.
We got a ways to go.
Month and a half away, but that means we can finally go up there and, you know, see this bastard in person.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say bastard still, Tanner? Or
I think so.
are we going PG? I don't know what we're doing here.
I don't think we all agreed on anything. So
I would say refer to Eminem's new album coming out.
Good. We haven't had any cuss words today, so that's nice of us. I'm glad
we're on a roll, dude.
We're doing really good.
But that's
really
what
good.
happens. That's what happens during the off season where there's not a whole lot going on in sports. We stop cussing because we're not as passionate.
Well, right. And so we'll get passionate later on, of course, when something big's going on, of course. You know, but we'll save that for when it's really impactful and meaningful for you guys out there listening. But I did want to say one more thing before we move along to the NBA. So the kickoff rule is something we have not touched on this show, as a matter of fact.
Correct.
Somehow we've missed that. I mean, we didn't miss it, but we just somehow missed it for the show.
Yeah.
So, guys, we are adopting the XFL/UFL kickoff rule. And it's going to be kind of fun, I think. So kickers will kick off from their own 35-yard line as usual.
Yep.
However, the other 10 members of the kicking team will line up on the opposing team's 40-yard line. And so when you see this from a wide view angle, it's going to look wild because you're going to have basically a whole line. It's going to look like war. You're going to have a whole line of defenders on one side stretching across the field and a whole line of other blockers on the other side that are within 10 yards apart, essentially. The kickoff will happen, but the kicking team cannot move until the ball has either been touched or reached the ground at that point. So they have to stay still until the ball has reached into the hands of the return specialist or has reached the ground or whatever. But I think there's different things within this rule too that are going to be interesting because I think they've also adjusted other things to make it more confusing for a lot of people with where the ball lands, and so that's part of why we're talking about like pooch kicks. Butker might be your guy. We just want to kick it out of the end zone, put him in there. But like when you have Justin Reed out there or Reese Sammet, whatever the case may be, and you want a different situation where you want to put the ball in play. There's different rules regarding that too. So
you want to know the landing zone rules?
Yeah,
I got it all up here.
Cool. Let's discuss landing rules.
So first bullet here is landing zone is the area between the receiving team's goal line and its 20-yard line. Any kick that hits short of the landing zone, treated like a kickoff out of bounds, and the ball spotted at the 40-yard line. Play would be blown dead as soon as the kick lands short of the landing zone. Any kick that hits in the landing zone must be returned. Any kick that hits in the landing zone and then goes into the end zone must be returned or downed by the receiving team. If down, then touchback to the 20-yard line. If the kick hits in the end zone, stays in bounds, returned or down. If downed, then the touchback to the 30-yard line. Any kick that goes out of the back of the end zone, in the air, or bounces is also a touchback to the 30-yard line. So there's your landing zones.
So quite a bit of wide variety of range there with this kind of situation. I mean, that's why I was talking about Dave Toub probably being excited that there's more to worry about now. More to think about.
Man.
Their strategy to the kicking game itself, from the sounds of it. But so I don't know if you guys watched much XFL. I know right now
not too much.
They got the conference championship going on. Is actually on Fox this past weekend, and it's fun, man. I mean, I like the rule. I'm enjoying it. I've enjoyed what I've seen out of it. I think it's gonna bring back the element, because we were all scared for years, you guys. The kickoff was just gonna be done away with altogether. And we've even heard Bill Belichick talk about this and say, screw kickoffs, put it at the 25-yard line, and just go from there. Bill Belichick said that, and Bill Belichick's a football pure historian type of a guy with his dad Steve and everything. He cares about the game and the integrity of the game. But I think that this rule itself is going to be more fun than something else we would have come up with. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it works out for everybody.
Yeah, I'm for sure. There's a lot of miscellaneous stuff we can also talk. What's your thoughts on the landing zone stuff?
I'd be pissed if they did away with the kickoff altogether.
Yeah.
I think it would just kind of ruin the game and the history of the game. But I think the whole point of the new rule is to have fewer injuries and to just have more returns overall. But I'm glad they did it because I feel like it's easily the most boring part of the game to watch the kicker kick into the end zone over and over again. I mean, so I'm glad they made the rule change. I want to be able to watch this just to see how it plays out. But I like the fact that they're trying something new rather than just, like you were saying, with Belichick just wanting to do away with the kickoff altogether.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think it's going to blow people's minds at first. People are going to be very confused as it goes on the first few weeks. But I think as time goes on, people are watching more of the games. They're going to understand. You're going to be questioned a lot. So a lot of us sitting around with our wives and girlfriends are going to be watching us suddenly from over our shoulders going, what are they doing? Why are they lined up like that? And so be prepared out there, people out there listening.
It's going to be different.
Your friends and wives and girlfriends are going to be asking, what's going on? That's offsides. Why are they at the 40-yard line? That doesn't make any sense. And so just
it's going to be interesting. Some little miscellaneous stuff. Just some hit quicks here. No fair catch or signal is allowed. Officials will blow the play dead if that happens.
Penalty.
Yep. Fourth quarter begins. The team trailing has the opportunity to declare an onside kick to the officials. Everything else stands the same. That's how the onside kick goes. But they have to declare the trailing team now as the key. Penalties: the setup zone and landing zone will not change with any penalty that carries over to kickoffs. The only thing that will change is where the spot the kick would be. So that would move. So everything 40, else, all the setups would stay the same. And they would still have to kick it in the landing zone. Penalties on scoring plays will not carry over and be taken on the try. Penalties on the try may carry over if they do. Oh, the kicker on safeties, the kicker now has an option to use the T. And the landing zone will not change. So in the safeties, you're still looking at the same spot of getting it inside the 20, basically. And you have an option to use the T this
instead
time.
of punting, you can use a T.
Yep.
Essentially.
Let's see here. Approving rulings, the special team will work. Okay, yep, that's about it. So, but yeah, that's kind of the miscellaneous stuff. So there's even a little bit more deeper inside of just their basic rules that we just talked about. So
yeah, it's a lot. It's going to be a lot for even us to figure out. I mean, I think we'll
take some adjustment.
Preseason will be interesting. We'll be all eyes on special teams in preseason and how things are working out with that. So
we got so Dave commented. He says Poppy claims he is 206 now. He was 216 as a rookie. He was 216. Yeah. Still a good running back, but faster.
Yeah, 206. I mean, he already ran a 4.37, I believe, at one point. So he's If he's at that point, I mean, that's
Talked about Belichick. He says, "LOL, Bella cheat and integrity in the same sentence. My side hurts from laughing."
well,
Did he really cheat though, or is that just a conspiracy theory? Did he really cheat?
That
I
might-
want to see some video.
I don't know.
evidence.
Did Robert Kraft go get hand jobs? So
I want to see some video evidence on
did
that.
Tom
as
Brady
well.
deflate some balls? I don't know, man.
I need like the Ray Rice video evidence. Otherwise, it's conspiracy theory.
We'll have to look at. We'll have to do a little more research on that. Flint Eastwood says, "Can't they declare an onside kick at any time?" It doesn't state it here in the rules, but I think it's mainly the fourth.
So
quarter.
the surprise onside kick is gone.
Yeah,
So you can no longer have a surprise onside kick. That is,
I don't think you can do an onside kick before
Gone.
the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's onside kicks now. So you have to be trailing.
Yes.
You can no longer be ahead and then do an onside kick, or coming out of halftime onside kick like we've seen in the Super Bowl. You must be trailing.
I
in the
don't.
game.
I hate that.
No, I
think
agree.
That's stupid.
I'm not a big fan of that either. Not a big fan of that either. So, I can't remember if you have to be trailing by a certain amount or just
it
trailing
doesn't
in general.
state. It doesn't
But
state
I do know that
on NFL operations.nfl.
maybe Bodkins can fill us in. It looks like he's chiming in here. I just can't see what he's saying.
Bodkins says Boston taking a 5-point lead, updating us.
Oh, we're
He
about
also-
to jump over to that.
He also says Bill ain't do anything anyone else wasn't doing.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, they were all
That's a
doing.
fair
I
point,
can work
man.
with that.
Yeah,
Bodkins has that fair point.
Well,
well,
we proved that. That's documented evidence that the deflate gate with Tom Brady, the Colts in the same game had more
Correct.
deflated balls.
Right.
So like,
Correct.
I've never
it's-
cared about deflated balls personally. Like that's never mattered to me.
Bodkins also says no more surprises like the Saints in the Super Bowl. So you can't
Right.
do it.
That's what I was
So
referring
you have to declare it in the fourth quarter trailing. That's it.
Yep. And so that's the only thing I'm not a big fan of with
Next
that
Bodkins.
change is that the onside kick surprise is over. That's never going to happen. With
I
this
think
new rule.
they'll change that back eventually. I think.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I don't know. Either way, looking forward to Reese Sammet and looking forward to watching how special teams plays out this year because at least it'll be more entertaining than watching all of our kickers with strong-ass legs like Butker and Tucker just kick it out of the back of the end
Yeah,
zone.
get the occasional return.
See now,
Yeah.
kickoffs will not be run to the bathroom and piss time. Kickoffs, I'm going to want
You
to
have
watch
to watch
again.
it now.
Now I got to hold my piss. So, shoot, man, I got to figure out when to go.
You have to go
So-
before and after.
Because it used to be a
halftime.
thing where I would go definitely during kickoffs was kind of my thing because I
You
knew
did, yeah.
Butker was just going to kick out of the back of the end zone. That's a waste of a whole minute of lining up and this and that. I was like, oh, I can piss in a minute. So now we got to readjust our times on all those kind of things. This is the whip to think about, man. This is the kind of adjustment we have to make as fans for dealing with this. All right, guys, let's jump on over to the hot current topic of the day, the live sport in front of us, as a matter of fact, the NBA Finals. So, JG, I know you were asking us recently, did you say on air live or not what your official prediction was for the Finals? And yes, you did, as a matter of fact. But in the predictions where, well, Tanner, you and I both had Celtics to win within like Game 6 or something like that. You favored the Mavs, but I'll let you discuss that here in a second. So what I've seen so far to this point, 2 games in Boston. Both games I felt like were just manhandled in a lot of ways by Boston. The last game was closer, but at the same time, I still felt like the better team won with the more talent, and that's why they won, was that it was just too much talent to overcome at that point of the game. And it's feeling like it's lopsided more than I've seen a finals in a very long time, in my opinion. So for me, it's kind of coming out the way I expected, but maybe even worse for the Mavs at this point. So obviously Luka's doing his best. I think Kyrie Irving has not been his best in this series so far. So anyway, JG, I'm going to let you continue with what I'm saying here and talk about your thoughts on if you're surprised about the Mavs right now to this point in the year or point in the series.
It's very intriguing series right now, and the whole Mavs thing. I think the Mavs are what they are. Nothing surprises me about the Mavs right now. I did pick them to win in 6 games, and obviously that was before we saw Kristaps Porzingis take the floor for the first time. I think it was like 16 games. Hadn't played at all in the playoffs, and I think the fact that Porzingis being plus 25 in this series when he's on the floor, if you take that away, if you take his plus 25 plus or minus away, these are two basically evenly matched teams.
They
and I
are
think
not.
do you understand? Do you know what a plus minus is,
I
Tanner?
know what a
do you know
plus
what that
minus
means?
is.
Do you understand?
These are not two evenly.
Do you understand if you
teams,
take
dude.
Porzingis off the floor that's pretty well even?
Yeah, I'm not letting you do that, dude. No.
So
no.
then and now all of a sudden he's injured, so he's not even playing. So that intrigues me even more. But there's so many different things going on in this series. I think that in the beginning I thought that with the Celtics record without Porzingis being better than with him, I thought that would play a factor. But the guy just came out on fire, and I don't think anyone was expecting that level of dominance on the offensive side of the floor, particularly in Game 1, and on the defensive side of the floor. I mean, the Mavericks were just afraid to take shots in the lane. And so now that Porzingis is out, presumably you would think that Dallas has a chance in this game that we're watching right now. It's 71-65. But before the series started, I said to myself, the Mavs have the two best players on the court, number 1 and number 2, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and I was taking that to the bank all the way. And obviously, we found out really quickly that the Celtics have more bodies defensively, and I thought the Mavs coming into the series, both of these teams were really elite defensively. But then, as we saw in the first two games, it was very difficult for Kyrie in particular to get a shot off because Boston has so much length defensively. They have so many guys that they can throw up against Kyrie. And so I think nothing surprised me with the Mavs. I think the way that Boston came out hot with Porzingis, and nobody had actually seen him play in so many games. I think that's what surprised me the most is just the level of dominance when Porzingis is on the floor. But now that I've had a chance to watch, I mean, I think Boston needs to step on their throats right now. That's the number one thought going through my mind right now. They need to step on their throats because what I said originally about Dallas having the two best players on the court, that's still true. And so I think now that Porzingis is out of the picture, I think Boston needs to step on their throat right now and make it 3-0 because if they don't, I could see this thing going 7 still.
So you think Dallas has the two best players on the court?
Absolutely.
You're saying you think both Luka and Kyrie are better than what Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, whatever, have to offer?
When this series started, we were saying that Luka and Kyrie Irving were the best backcourt in the history of the sport. I wasn't saying that.
Who was saying that?
But there were a lot of people out there that were comparing them to Steph and Clay.
What?
Before they actually won a ring.
What?
Ooh, no.
And I think
Where are you hearing
statistically,
this, man?
I think statistically, I mean, like it was true. I mean, if you just put their stats up against guys like Steph and Clay, I mean, I think they had a case for that. But at the end of the day, if you don't win a championship, nobody's ever going to remember how good you were in the regular season. But I personally thought, and I've seen a lot of people rank these guys. I think most people, I think the consensus was that Luka was the best player in the series before the series started, and most people had Kyrie at number 3. I had him at number 1 and number 2 just based on the fact that those are the two guys. If I want to trust somebody to get me a bucket, just create space on their own, no help, no ball movement, I trust those two guys more than I trust Jason Tatum, who is really not an alpha. I think Jaylen Brown is the best player on the Celtics right now. Those are the two guys that I trusted the most. And so, obviously, Luka is not 100%. He was taking injections as a painkiller before the game. And so a lot of different things going on here. And I knew that when I made my pick of Dallas in 6, I knew that Luka was not 100%. So, you might say it's a little bit of wishful thinking here. But now that he's got that issue and he's taking injections and Porzingis isn't playing at all, those are two kind of wrenches that you're throwing into the series here. And that's exactly why I think Boston does need to step on their throats and get it over with right now. Defensively, again, there's just, when you double team Luka, there's just too many horses for the Boston Celtics. I think Drew Holiday could have very easily won the MVP of the series. I mean, you've got Derek White as the 5th best player on the Celtics. Who's the 3rd best player on the Mavs? You guys probably couldn't even tell me that right now. Supposedly,
there is nobody.
Supposedly it was P.J. Washington, who last I checked had 1 point, I think.
He's still at
leading
1
into
point.
yeah. So he was the guy that was supposed to, kind of help these guys out as the 3rd best scorer. He hasn't done shit in this game. And supposedly role players are supposed to play better at home. Well, the dude needs to show up. So what you're seeing right now is just a plethora of horses on one side versus the 2 quote-unquote best players on the other side with no help.
Well, that's kind of what Tanner and I's point was a couple weeks ago when we made predictions, I think, was that top to bottom, the Celtics were just a better team. Mm-hmm. And Luka, as great as he can be at times, was not going to be able to overcome the roster that the Celtics currently carry in this situation, because if Luka had help around him more, I mean, Kyrie's fine, but if he had more help around him, maybe then we can have an argument about the 2 teams, but it's just not enough.
You're seeing today, we're 8-point ball game or whatever right now. Kyrie has 24 points, his highest total of the series so far. Luka at 25. There is not another player above 6 points.
It reminds me a little bit of the Suns with Booker and Kevin Durant throughout some of the season. just because you would see those 2 guys both put up 25 plus, and then the rest of the team.
I keep telling people it's the Yankees versus the Indians right now, and that's what you're looking at. It's just too deep of a team versus a couple nice players, Yeah,
the Celtics got too much to work with at this point. And
yeah.
It is what it is, man. It's the better team is going to win the series.
Yeah, I think the other thought I had going into the series was that if Dallas could just keep it close in all of the games and not, get blown out, that if you could get to crunch time, because we all know historically that's when the Celtics team has failed because they can't hit clutch shots at the end of the game. We thought that if Dallas could just keep it close, well, then I trust Kyrie. I trust Kyrie and Luka. I don't trust anybody on the other side. But it's been too much dominance, and that's why Boston's going to win the series. I don't know if it's going to happen tonight or if it's going to happen in 7 games.
Tonight,
but Dallas is basically cooked at this point.
Dallas is good. Last game 2, they were up almost the entire game going to the late of the 3rd quarter, and then they just ran out of steam. Boston took over. Boston played really well in that end of 3rd, 4th quarter, and that was the game for Dallas to win. It really was. That was the game to change the momentum, and now you have Porzingis out tonight, and it's not looking much better for you. It's not. Now it's 78-65, so it's rough.
Last thing I'll ask for this situation. So we know in the NBA how it goes betting-wise. So game 4 coming up. Would you put money on the Mavs to get 1 game out of this series, or is it going to be a sweep?
It's a sweep.
Sweep? Okay.
I think for the Mavs, they've got to get it done right now.
I'm saying
I think they're going to fold.
Assuming they lose this game.
Going
into game 4, would you say the NBA, knowing the NBA the way they do things, would you say the Mavs have a shot to stop the sweep? I mean, would you say the NBA would favor?
Okay. So it's
for betting reasons.
We'll go ahead and make the assumption that they lose here. Yes, it is going to be a sweep.
A sweep. Okay.
And Dallas is just those young guys, particularly the young guys. They're going to give up. I appreciate the fact that Kyrie Irving actually showed up to the series to play.
Saying. I was like, hello.
And again, it's not just him. I give credit to the Celtics defenders. Like I said, they've got multiple guys that can throw at Kyrie that are much bigger than Kyrie can stop him and create difficult shots for him. But again, you're one of the best scorers. Even LeBron James said he's one of the greatest talents the game has ever seen. I don't care if you're that guy. I don't care who's playing defense. You got to be able to show up on the road in at least one of those games, and he didn't do it. And so it's kind of sad because I did want to see Kyrie get another championship ring, but apparently it's not going to happen here.
I do, before we do move on, I did look up stats for Curry and Clay's first year going into the title, and then Luka and Irving this year. You've heard correct. Luka and Kyrie have a higher points per game compared to Steph and Clay. have leads in assists per game as well. They also lead in rebounds per game.
Tim, don't you understand, though, that that's more of a product of
those
two carrying the team
efficiency.
more than them being elite as a tandem?
It's a product
they're
of being
carrying a team. That team you're talking about, that Warriors team you're talking about, also had other guys around them that were still really freaking good.
Draymond wasn't really freaking good. Who else was really freaking good on that team?
Draymond Green was an all-star. You do understand that, right? He's made all-star
but he
teams.
wasn't really freaking good. So, no, I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's the case, though.
Now, it reminds me of...
I still think it's crazy.
You guys remember that the second stint when LeBron was on the Cavs, and Kyrie was actually on that team, and LeBron was complaining that we are top-heavy as blank. That's what the Mavericks are right now. They're top-heavy as blank, and they don't have any help, man.
That's that's Phoenix Suns theme every year.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Literally across their banner.
This is, talk about poor man's this. This is the rich man's Suns, as the Dallas Mavericks as the rich man's Suns,
but with no big three. So that's the Phoenix Suns with a big three can't
they fired that dumbass coach.
Again,
so
you're top heavy as blank.
If you're a Mavericks fan, you don't even have a big three. The Suns can't even get more than the 6th seed.
I told you the coach was awful last year. He was awful this year.
You don't want those type of teams, man.
Brad Beal, you can't even show up. I mean,
he's fallen off a little bit, but I'm just saying
they're all falling off a lot. Except for Booker. Booker's the only one that didn't fall off.
There was coaching issues this current last season. So
we got time for one more topic, guys. So no matter what platform you're watching on today, make sure you guys hit that subscribe, follow us, and give us a like, please.
Hell yeah, we played metal in the intro now, so or whatever Tanner picked. I don't know. Should I have played some Killswitch Engage? Maybe we can steal their
we're not
steal their guitars. I just feel like if we're gonna play hard rock or whatever, I should pick out a better quality musician.
Mike, I'm not looking for more work to do to cover our asses. So
okay. Well,
enjoy the metal that I gave you, man.
Yeah, I know, but I'm really picky. You know that. All right. So what do we got to talk about now? We got one more thing. We got a couple minutes.
We got to talk about a little Caitlin Clark here. Caitlin Clark here, missing out on the Olympic team here. And a lot of people are criticizing the pick of the team because she is missing. But Jason, I know you kind of brought this up here as a great topic here. Some quick thoughts here? What's your stance on
this? Talk about for the Olympic team coming up?
Yeah, for the Olympic team.
Okay.
See, that's what I said.
Yeah, so I guess at this point, last time I heard she was an alternate, but she's not actually on the team. She's averaging 15, 6, and 5 in her rookie season. In the WNBA, that's pretty damn good. She's definitely got the best stats of all rookies right now. I think it's a mistake to keep her off the team because, to me, this is very similar. I mean, I know you can't really compare the two because golf is an individual sport, but when Tiger Woods came onto the scene in 1997, most people, I would say the general public, couldn't care less about golf. I mean, you had your guys that have always watched golf, but when Tiger Woods came along, the world was watching golf. And I think that's what Caitlin Clark is right now, the WNBA. I don't really understand the jealousy factor with all these other players that don't want to see her do well because she's actually going to help their contracts.
She is helping them.
And they're already flying on,
charter jets.
They were on charter jets. Before that, they were probably flying coach like you and me. They're not making a lot of money. They're probably making,
I think we saw the contract. She was going to make $77,000 or $80,000 for a year.
Yeah, I mean they're making basically what I make for professional basketball, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But she's building the brand, and I was even thinking to myself the other day. I was like, I wonder who's the GOAT, or who's got the most championships in the history of the WNBA. Nobody really knows that, and nobody's really asked that question. Now all of a sudden we care. Like, people are starting to ask those questions because they care more about the WNBA. And so I think if you're trying to grow your brand, if you're going to try to have bigger salaries, which is what how long have we listened to this, Mike? For the last decade or so, women need to make more money. They need to make the same amount of money as men. That's what Caitlin Clark is bringing to the WNBA right now. and they're jealous of her. They don't want to see her succeed. You know, they're just like,
no one should be jealous
trying
because she's inflating the WNBA, which is something that a lot of people you've always said you care about the WNBA. You watch it.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I know
there's
that
a lot of people out there that couldn't give a shit.
I know that prior to Caitlin Clark, Cheryl Swoops was the best player in WNBA
Nobody knows who
history.
that is except for you.
She played back in the 90s. But I'm just saying, like, if you're golf, let's just pretend that you're back in 1995 and you're trying to grow the sport of golf. Would you try to just say, "Oh, Tiger Woods, we're not going to let you onto the Ryder Cup," which in that particular case, that is a team sport? Are we going to Michael Jordan, when he made the All-Star team as a rookie in the NBA, they froze him out of the All-Star game. Isaiah Thomas wouldn't pass him the ball, and that came back to bite him. But I'm just like, why do you have all these haters? And it reminds me of that scenario when, you know, Jordan was a rookie and they tried to ice him from the All-Star game. I was just like, I guess that's kind of human nature. When you're a new person coming into the league, everybody just hates you for a little while, and then you get over that. But I mean,
But if you're bringing more eyeballs to the product, you're getting more television opportunities for the product.
That's the issue that's going on is
And
they can't get the stardom, but there's one person that comes to the league, all of a sudden it's big time.
And I
she
think
made college NCAA.
It's jealousy. It's jealousy.
She made everyone give a shit about women's basketball in college.
What these players wanted
they got more viewership than the men's did.
Yeah, what these players wanted to do, they obviously weren't doing it, and now one player came in, and now it's just full out jealous. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a while, but I think eventually they'll get past it. I think they're going to see the fact that she is going to grow the sport. She's going to get more eyes on the sport and create higher salaries for all of the women's players. But, you know, right now it's just kind of like, you know, it's going to take a while to build that. I think if you want to compare her to Jordan, I mean, eventually Jordan had to get Scottie Pippen before he could win a championship, and so I think maybe the Indiana Fever are going to have to
they need a lot, man.
Try to build around her before she can gain a little bit more respect.
Caitlin Clark's their second overall first-round pick in 2 years, a number one overall. So
yeah, I love the fact that she's getting more eyes on the sport. I want to watch that
well,
shit.
when you turn on, like, I don't watch ESPN every night like I used to when I was younger, but now when you do turn on ESPN, though, you will get the Caitlin Clark highlights because people give a shit about it. They care now all of a sudden about how she's doing because of what went on in college and just kind of her legacy at Iowa and just all those kind of things. I mean, for me, you guys know I'm not the biggest basketball fan in the world, but I still kind of kept up on it. I mean, that's kind of what's going on with this Caitlin Clark thing because she's a badass at shooting threes. I mean, I don't know what the hell I'm watching, honestly, but still at the same time, you know, you got a doofus like me just suddenly like starting to pay attention to her stats for her new WNBA team. And it's like, normally I could never care less about something like that. But, you know, now it's put in front of you and you kind of like in your mind, you know, track it. So
I'm telling you, this has the potential to be like Tiger Woods when he started.
And
when
she's
he
a
came into
and
the
she's a
PGA.
Chiefs fan, by the way. So
she is, yeah.
That's what we care the most about.
So you're saying this was the wrong move to leave her off the roster?
Yeah. Oh, without question.
Okay.
I mean, it's an absolute joke. But I mean, yeah, it's.
I think it's the right move in more than one way. Okay, to leave her off the roster as an alternate. Okay, nobody's under the age of 26 on the team, right? And we already know all the vets hate her. So you're causing chemistry issues if you bring Caitlin Clark aboard, just like Michael Jordan, just like you talked about, right?
Yeah,
a little bit of chemistry issues, but there's going to be more chemistry issues because everybody's jealous of her at the same time. Second off, she's been playing since February, for God's sakes, or more, maybe more than that. She has nonstop. Literally, her season ended in the title game. The WNBA draft, I think, was the next week, and then they started play that next week. There was no off season for her, and she's been going she'll be going almost a year straight by the time the season ends. WNBA. You can't, and then you go to play the Olympic team, and then there's no off season again. No, you can't do that to a player.
I don't care about the chemistry, Tanner. I don't care about the
should
wear
care
and
about the
tear.
chemistry.
The wear and tear doesn't matter because the Olympics is just kind of a cakewalk. They could throw her on the bench.
It's not a cakewalk.
She could be the last player on the bench, but at least she's going to represent her country.
No,
and
it's no fun if
you
she's
brought
not
up
playing.
Jordan. You brought up the Jordan thing. Jordan played on the Olympic team before and after he got into the league.
Yeah,
So now
but
Caitlin
when
Clark's
does
already
the
in the
NBA
league.
season start, Jason?
It doesn't
The
matter.
NBA, yes,
doesn't
it
matter.
I do want
does.
to ask Jason.
It
doesn't
does
matter
matter.
about this.
When's
So-
the draft happen, and then when's the season start?
Jordan won the gold medal in
Huh?
84, 1984,
When's the season start?
and 1992.
I want to know that gap between that and that. There's a big difference between.
Throw
those
on
two
the end of the
seasons.
bench.
No,
Just
it's
put her on the
pointless.
end of the bench.
You're not going to get any. No, you're not getting what you want.
Give her
You're-
like 15 minutes
you're
a game.
using a spot, and it's going to hurt the chemistry.
If you
want to
grow women's basketball
It's
the
not-
way that Michael Jordan built the men's game back in 1992,
USA
you're going to put her
if you're
put her
going
in
to
the
the
Olympics.
it's not time to grow your sport. It's time to win ball games. You represent your country. Caitlin Clark is not going to be part of the squad, and it's going to hurt your team. You're there to win.
So you're
going to
throw 40. You want to put 42-year-old Diana Taurasi in the Olympics rather than Caitlin Clark. That makes a lot of sense, right?
Why? Well,
You could put Diana Taurasi in the Olympics. She's 42. She's 42 years old. I'm 47. You want me to throw me in the Olympics?
Yeah, she's still there. Yeah.
You want to put my ass in the Olympics? I'm 47.
Well,
I'm 5 years older than her.
She's going to be the one sitting on the bench, right? You're
Not going to grow the game.
Spot? You're not there to grow the game, Jason.
Tanner,
it's not growing the game.
Tanner, how long have we been bitching and complaining
Jason,
that
you're
nobody
not growing a game for the
Listen to
USA
me.
Olympics. You're
Listen
there to
to me.
win.
Nobody watches.
You're there to win.
Nobody watches
You don't have to
women's
watch 'em,
women's
as long as
professional
they win.
basketball. Nobody watches it. What's the best way to get them to start watching it?
You keep Caitlin Clark
42-year-old Diana
You keep
Taurasi?
Caitlin Clark
You
healthy
think
for the
that's
next
going to
season?
get more viewers?
Jason,
No.
you don't want her to waste her energy, get injured on the Olympic team. Or
She's
anything
not
like
going to
that.
get injured, dude, if she plays 15, 20 minutes a game.
What are you talking about? That's still time. That's
How
still
old is she? Like
practice.
22, 21 years old? Who cares?
You'll be playing for over 12 months straight. Why? It's pointless.
I'm not buying any.
Don't
of,
hurt.
I'm not.
Don't hurt the WNBA more than it needs to be.
I'm not
than
buying
it is
any of
doing
your
now.
shit. Michael Jordan injured his foot in year 2, and it screwed him over the entire second year of his career. Now, how did that pan out? He screwed himself.
So she should hurt her foot so she can look like
I
Michael
don't
Jordan?
care. Who
I-
cares?
The WNBA should care. Exactly. The
No,
WNBA is the only thing
Tanner,
that matters. in this one.
that is probably
It's not the USA Olympic team. It's the WNBA.
as
That's all that
many
matters.
as many ridiculous arguments as you've made on this show. That it's top 5. That's Mount
No,
Rushmore.
It is.
That
I don't
is the
understand-
Mount Rushmore of ridiculous
I don't understand
Tanner
what's wrong with
arguments
that.
on this
Why-
freaking
why
show.
would I put a Caitlin Clark to ruin the chemistry and you lose in the first round? Why? Why would I do that?
Exposure.
That's so stupid, dude. She doesn't need any more exposure.
The women's basketball.
The WNBA
Needs
is
more
getting plenty
exposure.
right now.
No, they're
Go
not.
go win a championship.
No,
and
we
then
need.
that'll help you out.
They're in a short window to grow the sport. They want to grow it immediately.
Yeah.
They've already got the
You
eyes
are
on
doing that right now, but you're hurting. The players are also hurting the WNBA as we speak.
it. What
Their
are you talking
attitudes
about?
against Caitlin Clark, and now you're going to put her on a team with a bunch of vets
Yes.
that already bully her. No, you're not going
Yes.
to do that. That's fucking awful, dude.
I'm keeping the
I'm
bullies.
sick of that.
If I'm taking somebody off the team, I'm taking the bullies off the team in the same way that Jordan
I
took.
don't-
1, 2,
Jordan,
3,
hey. I'm taking the bullies off the team like
4.
Isaiah Thomas.
5.
I don't understand the
You're gonna
bully
lose-
aspect.
You know,
of it.
You're gonna lose
you understand
six-
what
doesn't
happened
make
in
sense to
You're
me.
going to lose
1992?
6 to 7 all-stars on that team.
1992, Isaiah Thomas was the bully. That was who was removed from the team.
If you're going to
That's
be,
who should. If you think Diana Taurasi is going to bring eyeballs at age 42, you got another thing coming, man.
I'm not worried about the viewership in this. This is the Olympics, not the WNBA, dude.
Only thing I want to ask you.
I'm
That
not worried
makes
about the
no-
Olympics.
About the situation.
That makes
This
no
is not the
sense
same
whatsoever.
league. I hate
Makes
to break
no
it to
sense.
you. It's not the same thing, dude. This is not
Yeah.
the same thing.
All I want to ask
Whatever.
you, Jason, about the situation is that do you not? I mean, do you think that Caitlin Clark being removed from her WNBA team, she went from Iowa to being drafted, pretty much playing right away. There's not much downtime, and then going from that to then joining the Olympic team, taken away from the current team she plays on for whatever amount of time. Do you think that plays an impact at all? You know, on her just getting that chemistry with her teammates.
I mean,
I know
they
the
don't
team is
like
not
her.
good. Here's the thing. I know that her current team is not good. I understand that. But do you think that is something that could play an impact if she was to be taken away again to go somewhere else and then just be kind of tossed around to something? I mean, do you think it matters at this point?
I would say, like, we always complain, particularly on this show, not me, but others have complained on this show on the fact that the NBA lasts about 9 months out of the year, or let's say 8 months.
It's 9.
The WNBA is what, maybe 3 months? I don't even know if the WNBA is 3 months. So that's like 1/3 of the NBA season. Are you seriously?
Is it?
Are we really concerned about wear and tear on a 3-month
See, I actually don't know
WNBA
that,
season?
if that's true. I don't know that.
And even if you were concerned about that, so let's say Caitlin Clark is the best. Let's say she gets Rookie of the Year. Okay, if you're really concerned about her health, just do what Popovich did with Wembanyama. Popovich cost him an all-NBA roster spot by only letting him play 30 minutes a game because he didn't want to get him injured. So if you're that concerned about your assets, particularly if she's going to play in the Olympics, just monitor. You can monitor her minutes. And, oh, by the way, the season lasts like 2.5, 3 months.
It's 4 months.
There's no wear and tear.
4 months.
There's absolutely no wear and tear
There is wear
whatsoever.
and tear. By the way, how do you grow the game in WNBA without Caitlin Clark on the floor? You don't. You don't at all. If you play her,
I was going to say, all the eyeballs will be off WNBA. They'd be on the Olympics for sure.
Yeah, now you're losing. Now you're hurting.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter, Jason.
Are you trying to grow the brand or the sport?
Yeah, are you trying to grow the? Yeah, exactly. Are
Is it
you
the
growing the
brand
brand or the sport?
Listen to me. They are going to watch her WNBA games if she plays 5 minutes a game. I don't care if she plays 5 or 10 minutes a game or if she plays 30. It does not matter.
First time she gets hurt, and
they
she's
are
out.
charging $500.
Viewership.
They are charging more money than a regular season Chiefs game to get in the door to those games. Okay,
Caitlin Clark games.
So I do not care if she plays 10 minutes, 20 minutes. If you want to try to keep the wear and tear off so she can play in the Olympics, fine. You do what you have to do to get all eyes on women's basketball.
So the brand. That's what you're talking about. I'm thinking about the sport. You're thinking the brand.
I'm thinking about WNBA,
Sorry, you're thinking of
Olympics.
the sport. I'm thinking the brand.
I'm talking about women's sports in general. Nobody cares about any of them. This is your one chance. This is your one chance.
Fun to watch.
You have professional women's basketball. This is your one chance to get eyes on it. I think you go all in. You do whatever you can to get her on the floor.
All right. Well, we have two different views of what we're supporting, like what we want to push. So,
all right, let's check a couple comments, Tanner, before we get out of here. See what they're saying on the situation before we jump out and then watch the end of this obliteration.
Yeah, right. Flint Eastwood said, last Olympics, the U.S. women's team won all their games by 15 to 20 points. Let Caitlin play.
Yeah, because you know what the Dream Team did in 1992? They won all their games by 40. So if you throw Caitlin Clark on the floor,
I think it's the right move for her.
The other teams are going
to
get obliterated.
I think it's the right move for her not to play. Period. Like, you need to get better so you can play in the playoffs and play in the championship and actually grow WNBA itself.
I mean, the
only at the end of the day, next year, I'm assuming she'll be in. Or not next year, but sorry.
No.
I mean, the next time we have the
next time we have Olympics, she'll be.
Next time we have women's Olympics basketball.
That's really the only thing that I could use to take his side of the argument is that, she could be on the team in 4 years, but why wouldn't you try to grow women's basketball now? Why would you want to wait 4 years? So that, again, it just doesn't make sense to me. But you're right. I mean, she's going to get her chance one way or the other, and that's a positive way of looking at it.
Yeah, like she's the LeBron of the sport. So,
yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get out of here and finish up this current NBA game in front of us here. They're only down by
60. They're only down by 60.
Yeah, by 60. Yeah, there's 8 minutes left in the game on our TV anyway, and so we'll check that out and be back in a couple of weeks again, you guys. Like I said before, we'll be back to doing a show every single Wednesday, coming up probably sometime end of August. It's kind of what we're thinking, somewhere around there, or middle August, somewhere around there. We're figuring it out.
Football season.
Football season. Once that gets rolling around, which basically means training camp, preseason, so on. Obviously, we're going to have some fantasy shows for you guys, of course, down the road. And I know Tanner's already doing best ball, so he's already pumped about that.
I got 30 leagues right now.
I used to be a person, I would start doing mock drafts in May, and I realized that was not helping me at all. Like, I was actually like getting bad things in my mind. So I was better off pushing things back until like late June, early July for me to start doing some work on fantasy.
I like the best ball because it's a lot of lineups. You can do different stacks and different strategies and set it and forget it and see it back in January.
I know.
And focus
I
on
get
your
it.
main buffoon leagues like we got going on. So
I get it. All right, guys. Well, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I think coming soon, we're going to have some more cryptocurrency segments on the show. For all of you buffoons out there that are into crypto,
Ooh,
it's coming soon.
It's on my mind a lot, and I'm ready for a pump. To
And
happen.
dump.
I'm ready for a pump.
And dump.
Well, maybe next year we'll do a dump.
We're going to do a dump, man.
But for now, we need a pump. So yeah, that's coming along the way, you guys. So don't worry.
It's not investing, by the way. It's gambling. So
Yeah, we're gonna have a crypto topic here at some
just
point
brace with me on this
down the
outro,
road.
man. Just brace with me on this.
Tanner's got to deal with us throughout. Tanner deals with us every day.
I do.
We talk crypto every day.
Every day.
Tanner just listens. He has to deal with it.
I just
Whoa,
listen
whoa.
in, see what I can learn.
was that PJ Washington just hit a 3? Look out.
Let's
he
go,
might
guys.
show up to the
All right,
dance.
let's finish this goddamn game then. All right,
All
Tanner.
right, brace with me.
What are we bracing with?
Just I don't know if this outro is gonna
Yeah,
go smooth.
don't screw it up this time, Tanner.
It probably will be. All right, get us out of here.
All right, guys. I will see you all on the next one.
Outro.
See you guys.